Hello, Kindred Spirits. Welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be diving into your month of July for energy, insights, and guidance, as well as for the zodiac season of Cancer. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who may be joining us here today to look into your month of July, into Cancer season, and any other messages that find their way in here for you. Each of the piles are distinctly different and very different today, so take your time choosing which one really connects with you. But before we start diving into the actual nitty-gritty of the pile choices here, I just want to remind you of the ways you can support this space. The Kindred tip jar is down below. It's a great way, as everything that goes right into there goes right back into the channel. So thank you to everyone who's used that and has sent anything in. I really do appreciate it. And also, you can check out the different offerings I have for spell and ritual papers for your own magical and spiritual pursuits. You can also check out the snail mail readings, where you can get a reading in the mail. It is typewritten on a vintage typewriter and sent straight to you, wax sealed closed, for your eyes only. And each of those is unique to your specific situation and the reading that you are seeking. So you can check those out. And then I also have rainbow earrings that are handmade and crocheted just for you for pride. So if you want to see any or all of those, it'll be down below. But let's go ahead and look at the piles here. So for each of the piles, I really wanted to do something sort of blue and mystical and more intuitive for Cancer season and that watery feeling. So for the first one here, for pile number 1, we have this piece of Moonstone. In this specific lighting, it doesn't ever want to really showcase its beauty in its flash, but just know there is this really beautiful flash there. So that is pile number 1. Here for pile number 2, you have this piece of raw blue calcite. So that is the beautiful raw calcite for pile number 2. And here for pile number 3, we have a more mysterious stone, which I'm just going to call the blue lava stone. It's definitely not what it's actually called, but if anyone knows what this crystal actually is, do let me know. But this is pile number 3. So before you start heading off to the races to find those timestamps, I like to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here so you can really connect with your intuition and which pile is truly calling you. So let's go ahead and take that deep breath together here now. So as always, there's no right or wrong way to your pile choosing here today. You can choose all 3 of the piles. You can flip-flop between them. You can choose a pile and change your mind. There really is no rule book here, and there's no right or wrong way. So do feel free to use your own intuition here. All of the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video. And if you're curious to look even deeper into a reading beyond this, like I said, the snail mail readings will be down below for descriptions and helpful reviews for those who have treasured their own, as well as any of the other kinds of handmade goods that I create. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and move on here to group number 1. Hello, group 1. If you've decided to choose this piece of Moonstone, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set it here so you can see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be looking into your July blessings as well as any messages that are going to come up for the month. But we're also going to be looking into the rest of Cancer season as we are now into that astrological season. So there's a lot that we're going to be unpacking here and uncovering, and let's just start diving in. All of the different decks and supplies that I have here will be listed down below in case you are curious. And do feel free to get yourself cozy and ready for this one. I was really feeling called to the Line Strider deck today because it has such a watery, dreamy, intuitive energy that I feel like Cancer season really brings out in us, that emotional, flowing, soul level side. So we're going to see how that relates, and if any really big emotional cards come up, like very big cup cards, I'm going to really be focusing and putting a lot of my attention towards. So feel free to get yourself settled and cozy for this. Feel free to send your energy in, and let's go ahead and get right into it, group 1. So what do you have coming in for the month of July? The main messages. We're going to be pulling 3 cards here. The main messages for July for group 1 here. What do they need to know? Ooh, this one's trying to slide away. We actually had 2 cards that decided to show up here, and we have the 8 of Cups, as well as the one that tried to slide away with the Star. So I find that really interesting because, like I said, I'm going to really put a lot of attention towards these Cup cards, and the 8 of Cups has a lot to do with about the ideas of like retreating or leaving something that emotionally isn't fulfilling us anymore, or we just know that it's time to leave or it's time to let something go. And there's a lot of recovery that comes from that as well. There can be a bit of grief from this card. So we're going to see how these come in and be quite gentle with them and see what else there might be to your month of July here, group 1. This one a bit more assertive with the Knight of Cups. So yeah, we've got a lot of cup cards showing up here right away. And the Star almost has a cup energy to it for me. So the fact that you got these 3 together and the energy that's already coming off of them feels, like I said, like very gentle. It doesn't feel like you're going to have a month full of like very highs and very big lows, but I do think it's going to be quite a healing month for you, one that's going to help you kind of harmonize and recenter, especially with the Star. So let's go ahead and look at that one first. The Star tends to come after the Tower card in tarot, and if you guys are familiar with tarot, the Tower card is unexpected change, really big evolutional changes for ourselves on a soul level, on a physical level. You might have just changed jobs, or some drastic changes have just been really coming in lately for you. And this is the month to heal. This is the month to kind of reorient yourself, to use the stars sort of literally as what they used to be and were meant to be used for, with navigation for the longest time, right? With star maps and such. So really the stars are a symbol for you to showcase that you are navigating this new world that you've kind of are kind of reconnecting with, because so many things from the Tower showcase foundations changing, a lot of really big evolutional changes, like I said. So this is really about kind of taking a moment, reorienting yourself, seeing where you are again on planet Earth, and just sort of figuring out where you're meant to be. And sometimes that's just about, taking mindful moments this month to just sit and reflect and contemplate your next step. So that's what we have showing up here with the Star. And some of the big changes that you might have had show up for you have a lot to do with that 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups have a lot to do, as you can see, they're retreating, they're leaving something that, like I said, didn't really serve them anymore emotionally. So you might have had someone in your life that you've left, or you've needed space or separated from. You might have had a situation at work in which you needed to emotionally separate. Whatever it might be, there's just this feeling of separation, this feeling of needing to just take a little bit of space, a little bit of, like, again, that contemplative space just for yourself is showing up here in this month. And so you might be healing from this. This might have been that big drastic change for you. And you can see it doesn't mean that you don't leave anything left behind. It's not a perfect, clean slate. As you can see, they've kind of left little letters. They've left little breadcrumbs that they can use to find their way back if need be. So we have that showing up here with the 8 of Cups. And the boldest card of the bunch, and the one that actually flew out the boldest as well, is the Knight of Cups. And this one feels the most oriented to, like, actually action-oriented things that you'll be doing this month. So like I said, you have this contemplation time, you have this healing time, you have this rest and recuperation and rejuvenation that you might need. But then you also have the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups, as you can see, is a much more bold card in that they really speak from the heart. If you could bottle up the energy of, like, the heart over head energy, right? Really leading from your heart versus your head space. That is what's really coming up for you. So every action that you take this month, every feeling that you go after, what's driving it is that heart energy. Really listen to your heart this month. Really listen to what it has to say, and try not to let that critical, analytical, even anxiety side of your brain kind of take over from the things that really make you feel alive or really light you up or make your heart beat, right? So that's what we really have showing up here with that Knight of Cups. So those are the cards that we're working with for your month so far. But let's see what else you have coming in with your blessing card. So I actually pulled out these spellcasting cards, which I haven't pulled out for a while, but we're going to see a blessing coming up for you for the month of July. And some people don't love the word blessings. You can also see this as sort of a tool in your tool belt that's really going, like an energetic tool in your tool belt that's really going to be like the one to pull out this month, the one that's really going to be on your side, an energy that's really working with you. So, and in your favor. So let's see what that is for you this month. Ooh, peace of mind. Yeah, that entirely makes sense, right? We talked about this restoration, this feeling of kind of allowing yourself a little bit of more space and a little bit more peace of mind in general. And we really have that showing up here. And this feels like obviously kind of an angelic figure, but I really feel called to the clouds in general, like watching the clouds go by, kind of like I don't know if you guys have ever seen in like anime movies or, you know, like Studio Ghibli movies where they'll be sitting on a hill just watching the clouds go by, and they're these huge monstrous things, but they're so calming to watch, right? A storm coming in and using it as a mindful moment. So I really think mindful moments are going to be on your side. Meditation, just, you know, literally taking yourself out either in nature, and if that's not accessible to you right now, if that's, you know, if it's storming all the time, or you have, you know, another reason why, put a like soundscape on from YouTube, or you know, just sit on your couch and listen to the mindful moments happening already around you, right? There's a whole soundscape happening if you take a moment and just listen to the cars outside, or the way, you know, you've got little pitter-pattering feet maybe around you of a loved one or a pet, the sound of like a coffee machine turning on, like all those little things can like add up and give you a little bit of peace of mind. And I think a lot of this has to do with giving yourself a bit of space, and not just like space in your calendar to do it, not just peace of mind through space from this person, but literally giving yourself like space auditorily and space to just really, I don't know, like fall gracefully into a moment. It really feels really calming. So I do see this being on your side this month, and to really just use those to the best of your ability when you notice those mindful moments kind of rolling in like the clouds. So with that in mind, let's move on to your relationship card. So I like to pull these each month, and if you guys have been here for a while, you might already know, but I like to pull a relationship card. And it can be about romantic relationships, but it can also be platonic relationships, familial relationships, or spiritual, or even ones with your higher self. So do feel free to call in whatever energy you want to look into here, but we're going to see the collective message. So group 1, what is the collective message here? Optimism. We have, after each rainstorm, there will be clear skies. And at the bottom, it also says stillness. So more of that like mindful feeling that I had showing up here. So optimism is telling me again, like I felt like for some of you, with those like papers being left in the background, it really feels like some of you, like I said, just have a separation or a little bit of time. It doesn't mean you're like cutting someone off or cutting off an entire situation entirely, but just giving yourself the breadth of space to kind of uncomplicate it, to unravel it a little bit, to give yourself a little bit more time to contemplate what you want to do with it. So, or with that person. So I really think that you might be, if this is a relationship that you feel like this is talking about, there is this optimism coming in, and as things start to clear up and as you get a little bit of that space, I do think that things will clear up and give you a more optimistic point of view on the situation. So that's showcasing that. Otherwise, any relationship that you are thinking about seems to be optimistic this month. So that's really exciting, that things will not be cloudy forever. So with that in mind, I want to pull you one final card here before we move on to your charms. And this one is going to be on Cancer season specifically. So I know we've already started Cancer season by the time this goes up, but it's such a potent time to think about what Cancer season represents and how that can be brought into your life and how you can utilize this energy for yourself. And so we're going to see how that comes in, but in case you need a little refresher, Cancer has a lot to do with the sign of like obviously emotion, but also it has a lot to do with like safeguarding those you love and the things you love. And there's such care and nurturing energy that comes from those who are Cancer. And also there's this feeling of a bit of an intuitive message too, and the fact that it's connected to the moon. And I mean, I could go on and on, but the point is, that's why I wanted to focus on the cups here. And I want to see again as well how Cancer season could really work with your energy and the signs that you all are in, and see how that will kind of affect you as we move through the rest of the month. So I have quite a few Cancers in my life, as well as a amazing best friend and sister who is a Cancer, so I can't say anything but good words about them. So let's see. Ooh, we have the star. Oh my gosh, you guys have the star twice showing up here. So obviously they're really driving home that this month is just a lot to do with healing. It's a lot to do with just taking a moment to sit in the waves and see what rolls by. And I also am called to like this heron as well, in the idea of like stillness that we talked about earlier, and taking a moment, giving yourself a bit of pause, a bit of grace in your situation, gather your things, re-navigate, I think that that's fair. And I think maybe you're going into the month feeling like you have to charge into it, and you don't have to charge into it. It can be a gentle month. Not every month has to be super action oriented and action packed. And this one isn't really about that. It's about just kind of reorienting, re-navigating your situation, reading the stars, reading your situation a little bit more. It's more about contemplation than anything else. So I love that the stars have come up here. The star also can represent like, looking for a much bigger perspective too, looking beyond yourself and looking from multiple points of views, and that you have access to that as well. And also it can talk about, just wonderment and thinking bigger and looking bigger, bigger ideas, bigger questions, the bigger picture. So that's showing up here in the Cancer season for you, is just showcasing more of that star energy. But let's see what the charms have to bring to the table. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space here, and let's see what charms come in for you. So group 1. Okay, so we have a lot of charms showing up on like a whole little cluster on that peace card. So I want to start there, but I'm gonna refrain from starting there and moving first to the one that actually got like clipped to my hand here. It got caught on my thumb, and I was trying to get it off, trying to shake it off, and eventually was like, no, it needs to be a part of the reading. And so it really feels like that baggage, or what you're having to hold and bring with you. And it does feel like your situation, even when you're taking time off, even when you're trying to heal from it, it might be that you're just not going to be able to have full separation or full, space from it. And, you have to kind of take what you can get kind of situation. You might still have a bit of a snag, you know what I mean? Of something kind of trying to continue to snag or claw back in. So that's something to just be aware of, especially if you're trying to get space from the situation. You might need to cut it off a little bit more, or just be aware of that. We also have down here with optimism, after each rainstorm, there'll be cloudy or clear skies, not cloudy skies. And we have the break a habit charm, or break a cycle charm, because we can follow a cycle, and then we break it and we deviate from what we've always known. So there might be a deviation happening, a more optimistic deviation that's going to give you more peace of mind when it comes to relationships, which totally makes sense with things that we've talked about. We have more of that claw energy happening in the clouds here, with a little claw charm. Anyway, it's one of those little, it's really hard to show this one, but one of those little claw findings for a bracelet or a necklace. But when it comes to your peace of mind, we have you again following your heart being a very solid thing to listen to this month, because you got the solid heart as well. So it's uncomplicated. It's not about complicating your situation. Your heart has, it's the key. It's the thing to listen to this month for sure, especially over your head, which we had here showing up in this coin. So it really is the heart over the head. You are the authority here. We also have the Canadian coin too, so this can also talk about travel, and maybe that being something that could help give you some peace of mind. Traveling to a different place or looking from a new perspective or a different culture or tradition could be useful in that way, because we have culture and tradition showing up here. We also have the sharp point charm. So whenever I see this one too, it's a very sharp thing to do. Even though you're getting peace of mind, it means that you're going to have to really combat over those anxiety or those sharp thoughts or things that are just trying to poke into your space. So that's something to be aware of as well. That again, it's not a super clean, easy thing to access. Peace of mind, mindfulness, meditation, but very much worth your while. It's going to give you a lot of growth in the long term. And then lastly here we have the believe charm, because it's a little reindeer, and then we have the trying a new style or looking from more of that new perspective energy that we talked about, because this is a charm that one of my best friends gave to me when she was trying on a new style when it came to fashion and clothing and the way she expressed herself. So you might be expressing yourself in a new way too, and that might be a part of your healing process and give you a little bit more confidence to believe more in yourself. So those are all of the cards and charms here for you for the month of July and for Cancer season. I do hope this has been useful to you, and if it has, do be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you. Always curious. I've been hearing such wonderful things about the different readings lately, so keep on bringing those in. I love hearing your guys' thoughts. And then also, if you are new, do be sure to subscribe, as I put out new readings every single Monday, and I would love to have you join in here, as we've just hit over 1,000 subscribers. And like I said, I will be doing a giveaway. I'm just trying to decide how I want to do it and what I want to do, so it can be the best that it can be for you all. So do keep your eyes peeled on the community tab and here, as well as on my Instagram for that. And while you're over there on Instagram or down below in the description, you can also see the different offerings that I provide for snail mail readings, where you can get a reading in the mail, as well as rainbow earrings, which are still going to be open even beyond Pride season. And you can also see what spell and ritual papers I am offering at the time. So all of that will be down below. It's a great way to support the channel alongside the Kindred tip jar. And yeah, I do hope this has been useful to you. I am wishing you the best for Cancer season and July, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose this piece of blue calcite, then this is the pile for you for the month of July, the blessings you have coming in, the energy on its way in for you, as well as your Cancer season messages. We're going to be looking by the charms and the different oracle decks and tarot deck that I have here for you, all of which will be listed in the description down below. But yeah, we're going to get right on into it. I don't want to take too much time here in the beginning waffling about it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Do feel free to get yourself cozy and comfy for this. Get yourself some water, especially since we're moving into a water sign for Cancer season, intuition coming through. And I'm really going to be paying attention to the cup cards specifically, as this is a more watery signed oriented month. So let's go ahead and move right into it. So do feel free to send your energy in, and let's pull 3 cards to look into the main energies for you this month. So the month of July, group 2. Already I'm getting a completely different energy off of you, group 2, than I was getting for group 1. So I'm very curious. We have the Ace of Wands, totally makes sense. The first pile had a lot of cup cards. It was a lot more flowing, and your guys's, I'm just feeling like so much more pep in my step. So I'm very curious to see how that energy translates into the reading. and if maybe that's how you guys are already feeling. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. So we have the Hanged Man as well as the Eight of Swords. So there is maybe a bit of a roadblock to the pep in your step that we were talking about, but the passion is there, right? We have no cup cards really showing up here. So just in general, I feel like Cancer season, we're going to see more in your specific Cancer season messages. But right off the bat, we've got 2 cards showcasing someone getting kind of entangled in something or tied up or strung up in something, because we have the Eight of Swords, which, as you can see, they're not actually physically bound or strung up in some way. The Eight of Swords and swords in general have a lot to do with the way our mind can string us up, the way we can get ourselves entangled in a mess of confusion, excuses, blaming, and any of the sort, right? It could be any thought on our mind, but it's entangling us or putting us in this like constant feedback loop of information over and over and over. So that's really what I'm getting here from that Eight of Swords, is that you might find yourself in a situation where you're feeling like you want to make some actions, you really want to get something moving, especially with the Ace of Wands here, which is basically, if you're building a fire, this is the kindling. This is those little early signs. This is when you worked really, really hard to get, a fire going. You don't have the matches, but you have to, forge and make all the tools that you need to create the fire. And so right now you're gathering the materials, you're putting things together, you're starting to get ready, you're blowing on the kindling, you're making sure that the smoke is happening, but then you're not getting any fire, right? So that's what I'm really getting here, is this month has a lot to do with like getting the motions going, but like something keeps stopping you. It feels like a roadblock of the mind. So there's something right now that you might be feeling really entangled in already. You might already know what this is, that's got you really strung up. And part of me, yes, thinks that it is kind of a mental block, which a lot of the time, right, we'll have that come in and we'll still work through it. But I do think there might be some real reasons why the kindling isn't taking light, and part of that can be like the wind is blowing, right? It's just a really, really windy day energetically, right? Speaking here, but like it's a really windy day and it's just taking the light out of the fire, because right here we have the Hanged Man, or the Hanged One. In this case it's a tiger, a blue tiger, but they're like strung up. And whenever we see this card show up, it has a lot to do with an external thing kind of tying us up and telling us, hey, this isn't the time. This is kind of showcasing a bit of caution, or a bit of like, it's just not going to stick right now in the way that you're hoping for. So the reason why you might be having these mental blocks is because there's an intuitive feeling that you have going on behind the scenes, where you just know like this isn't the time. So sometimes we get ideas that we're really excited and inspired about, and we really want to get the ball rolling on them, but it's just things aren't falling in the right place. So maybe next month would be better. Maybe even 3 weeks into the month would be better than the beginning. But it does showcase that, yes, you have something that you want to get the ball rolling on, but it just might be that you're not going to have the right resources, or things just aren't going to fall into place the way that you're hoping for. So if you have something on your mind right now that you already are kind of like apprehensive about, might already be feeling like it's going to get tripped up on, then I don't think that that is entirely false. And I don't think that that's something that you shouldn't listen to. So it's up to you if you want to go ahead and take the step on whatever this is, whatever it is that you're feeling pumped about. But it might be more about planning that thing than it is to actually putting action to it this month. It might just need a little bit more time to marinate, might need a little bit more time and energy put into it from behind the scenes before the lighting of the fire here. I do hope that made sense. I know it was a lot of analogies because it's kind of broad here, but we'll see if we get other information coming in from your other cards. So we're going to look into your blessing card now. So whenever I pull these, this represents a blessing on its way in for you for the month of July. So you can see it as a blessing, or if that doesn't really resonate with you, you can also use this as an energetic tool that is going to be on your side this month. So if you had a tool belt, this is the one to pull out. So we're going to see what is coming in on your side energetically this month. So group 2 here. What do you have coming in energetically on your side? What is a blessing for you for the month of July? Group 2. So we have family. And for whatever reason, I feel like there's actually 2 here. I don't normally pull 2, but I feel like we have another one showing up. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space here, and we'll see what that is. We also have happiness showing in. So that's really kind of cool, especially since, like I said, it feels like a month that feels a little bit slow going, even though you have the momentum. So the fact that you have happiness showing up here, especially more in relation to this Hanged one, is telling me that even though you're going to have to wait it out, it's going to be worth it in the end, and it's going to bring you more happiness or more success or more fulfillment in the long run than it is to try to get and rush something forward, right? It's going to, even if you got that fire going, it's going to fizzle out as fast as it came in. So I really feel like this happiness, if you want it to be or success or longevity of it, it's more the longevity or the long-term goals that you're going to have building in seeds this month than it is about trying to force something to come into being. We also have family showing up here. So also just something that's going to be really on your side this month is family in general, right? So this could be chosen family. It could be friends. It could be whomever in your life that you feel is a loved one that makes you feel at home, that makes you feel cozy. Those are the kind of people that are really going to be supportive, helpful, useful, and a great tool in your tool belt this month. So that's really exciting as well, and might even give you a bit of that happiness that maybe you need by taking a bit of a break on whatever this process is or passion that you want to alight, right? So by taking that time off, you might even have more time for family. By not immediately going into this project, you might be also opening up space that could give you more fulfillment and happiness, again, long term. So these are things to consider this month, that family can really be at the forefront more than you maybe had expected. From there, though, especially since we just talked about family, let's go ahead and move on to your relationship card. So like I said, I was really feeling the flow of these cards because of Cancer season. So of course we have the sea melodies here to look into your relationships. So this could be a romantic relationship that you want to look into. It could be more broad in relationships. It could be a spiritual, higher self one, a future you version of yourself that you want to speak with here, or it could be just a family member, right? So we can see from many different angles here, but do feel free to send your energy on the one that you're thinking about, and we'll see the collective message for you here. Group 2. Group 2. A relationship card message here for group 2. Stillness. It's funny because this one actually tried to fall out for group 1 as well. So if you're really feeling this card, you might want to check out that pile as well. But stillness. In calm waters, everything becomes clear. And like I said, this is about kind of needing to take a step back to re-evaluate your situation, because right now might just not be, the best time to get this passion project moving. So instead, taking a bit of stillness is going to give you a bit of calmness. It's going to give you a little bit more clarity and a little bit more time as well for your family and for your relationships. So by letting things come to a stillness, it also means that you might be able to get some advice from them, ask for their ideas before immediately walking into it. From there, though, let's go ahead and look at your final card that we're going to pull before we move on to the charms, and that is your Cancer season message. And if you're enjoying this reading so far, do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help so much, so thank you. But we're going to look into Cancer season. So Cancer season is a water sign. It's a cardinal sign. It's the first of a new astrological season here, with Cancer really being at the forefront. They're very much an emotional sign, a sign that has they're the symbol of the crab, so they have this soft belly but a hard outer shell. So they will keep out of gossip. They're not interested in all that kind of stuff. But the moment someone steps on the people that they love or step on the things that they love, they are going to go all in to safeguard and protect those that they love. They're very nurturing, very caring, very emotional, and very intuitive people. So with that in mind, I want to see how you can take those sorts of traits and utilize them into your month. So let's see how that kind of translates for you. So Cancer season message here for group 2. A couple of them are trying to fall out here. And the one that you actually got here is the Sun. So funnily enough, again, group 1 also had one that is a very specific message. It's not like a animal here. It's one of the like more majors of the deck. And you have the Sun showing up here. And it's funny too, because you also have sort of the Sun with this really big shape here and this really bright, warm energy as well from the happiness card. So maybe getting some sun, going out with family, going on a little family retreat in the sun could be really useful for you. But in general, just letting those parts of yourself, those soft parts underneath the crab shell really lighten up and kind of come to the surface, those more tender parts of yourself coming to the surface, your more sensitive side, and letting it be illuminated with those really important and supportive relationships in your life are going to, I think, really give you a lot more happiness, a lot more ease of mind, and feel a lot more cared for and confident in yourself. So like I said, even though you're starting in the month wanting to charge into something, I feel like by taking a step back, you're going to gain so much more in your emotional side, your sensitive side, and in your relationships. And I think that's what they really want you to focus on, rather than what we had here at the forefront. Letting those sensitive parts of yourself come out, letting yourself play in the sun, letting yourself giggle and laugh and be joyful, and just letting yourself be more seen as well. Like I said, those soft inner tender parts. So let's see how that now translates into the charms to finish off your reading, and we're going to see the little bits and bobs left here for you. And do feel free to send your energy in, and let's pull some for you here, group 2. Okay, we're still moving around here. Let's see. So we had this one fall on the side, so I'm going to see if it wanted to be there, which it doesn't, apparently. But the ones that we do have showing up here, the one that was really getting caught on my finger, which happens quite a lot because it's kind of one of those types of charms, but is the overwhelmed charm. The overwhelmed charm. So whenever you feel a little bit overwhelmed or, kind of tight and, like I said, bound down, this is actually feeling kind of the opposite what I normally feel for this charm, right? I normally feel like it's feeling overwhelmed or overstretched, but instead it feels like it's relaxing, right? It feels like this is sort of relaxing, and I feel like that's what I'm really getting here with the sun, is that relaxing warmth energy that you get here. And instead of having to safeguard and hold yourself back and kind of tie yourself in knots over something, just giving yourself a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of time in the sun could be really useful for you. You also have the Ace of Cups showing up here. I know it looks like a little light switch or a light bulb, but it always makes me think of the Ace of Cups for whatever reason. And that showed up here on the blindfold, or little covering here on their eyes. So I feel like by taking a step back, you're also being able to connect more with the Ace of Cups energy of your heart. And instead of moving into the Ace, that is that kindling, instead you're going to be able to focus more on relationships and sensitivity, and even there could even be a little bit of that more intuitive psychic side as well that you might be playing around with here. Alongside that, though, we have a couple of other things, and like I said, humor felt like a really big part of what is coming up for you for Cancer season, if not this entire month, through family. And we have the little bubbles here, so whenever I see bubbles, it makes me, one, think that you're popping the bubbles of something. So maybe you haven't seen family for a while, or there's been a bit of tension. I do see that coming up for air, and kind of getting a breath of fresh air in there, and like popping the bubbles of tension. But alongside that, this reminds me a lot of like humor and like laughing and giggling like a little kid playing with bubbles. And so that showed up here as well. It also showed up between the two parents here, or the guardian figures or adults. So that also might be giving you an indication of who it might be. That is showing up here specifically for family, which I find really interesting too, because you actually got the honor thy mother and thy father charm. So whenever I see this one, it makes me think obviously of parental figures, or guardians in your life, those you really look up to and want to honor and care for. So those that are supportive in your life, that are people you look up to, they seem to be showing up here as well to give you a bit of that ease and a little bit of that time off as well. Because by giving yourself that time off and tying yourself back a little bit from these passion projects, you're also being able to make room for them a little bit more. You might even be traveling to see them, because we do have the travel charm. So I find that really interesting too. It could be by plane, it doesn't have to be though. And then lastly, we have the claw charm, or whenever I see this one too, it's like a little zip tie, but that zip tie has broke. So like I said, it's not that you're going to be bound forever from this passion project that you want to go on, but it's just that this isn't the time to begin it, or this isn't the time to really spark it and get it going. It's just like giving a little bit of space before you hit the ground running on it is going to really play better for you in the long term. So those are all of the cards and charms that I have here for you today. I do hope this has been useful, and if it was, do be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you. Always curious to hear what you guys have to say. And also, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to subscribe, as I put out new videos every single Monday. And I would love to have you join our growing community, as we've just hit over 1,000 subscribers. And yeah, I'd love to have you guys a part of this growing community. And I will be putting out a giveaway or something special about that here very soon. I've just been getting myself reoriented after getting back from a trip recently. So do keep a lookout on my Instagram and community tab for that. But you can also keep a lookout down below in the description to see any of the ways in which you can support this channel. So I have the Kindred tip jar, if that's something that you feel called to support this space. Everything that goes in there goes right back into the channel for different decks and supplies. But you can also check out the offerings that I have for snail mail readings, where you can get a reading for you in the mail. It's wax sealed closed. It's a lot of fun if you're interested in snail mail. And just in general, it's really easy to read too, because it's typewritten on a vintage typewriter. So if you're interested to get your own specific personalized reading, that's down below, alongside the other offerings I have for crocheted earrings for Pride, as well as the spell and ritual papers that I hand make too. So all of that will be down below to support this space and to support myself. And yeah, I do hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello Group 3, if you've decided to choose this more mysterious stone with the blue, the orange, and the lava looking spill, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set it here so you can see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be using the charms as well as several different oracle decks and the Line Strider Tarot for your reading today, all of which will be listed in the description down below in case you're curious. But yeah, we're going to be looking into the main energies, into Cancer season, into your month of July in general, as well as the blessings coming through for you and some relationship messages. So we have a lot we're going to cover and unpack here, so do feel free to get yourself cozy and ready to go. It's never a bad idea to get yourself some water as well, especially since we are moving into a watery season with Cancer season, all about the water sign and the emotional, sensitive energy that can come through with that. So do feel free to get yourself a drink of water. We're going to be keeping on with that watery energy here with these beautiful, more watercolored cards from the Line Strider deck through Llewellyn. So we'll be playing around with those today. And yeah, just feel free to get yourself cozy and let's just start diving right in. So feel free to send your energy in through time and space. I do want to preface though that since we are moving into a watery season with Cancer season, I want to look specifically at the cards that are coming through for cup cards. So we'll see if those pop out. But let's see. Group 3, what do you got going on? What are the main energies popping on in here for you for the month of July? Okay, so I think we have all 3 of our cards here already. So let's reveal what we got here. So we have the 4 of Cups. So again, we have a cup card. We have the 8 of Wands and we have the 9 of Wands. Ooh, the 8 of Wands is showing up at the forefront here. So I'll go ahead and pull these up so you can look at all the details here. But the 8 of Wands really strikes me because it is a card about messages coming in. It's kind of a sensitive card in that way, but it also represents about fast, forward-moving energy, right? This is like a forward-moving deer. This bird is just flying forward and the wind is right behind them too, right? So like if you're in a car, right, this is the tailwind helping to push and propel you forward. And especially because you have the 9 of Wands right next to it and the 8 of Wands as well, you have a lot of passion, you have a lot of drive, you have something that you've been really working towards that is just about there, right? So if you're trying to finish and wrap a project up, if you're trying to get something done and you need that last push of endurance, I really do feel like you're about to get like a tailwind underneath you to help propel you forward. Like the universe is about to kind of help gently push you forward to get something done or to move something forward that you've been really trying to get going, right? So this could be a passion project. It could be something you're working on at work, through school. It could be something that you just are a little bit nervous to get going, but in general, it feels like something you've already begun, because the 9 of Wands usually talks about something you've already started. You're already in the middle of it, you're already in the thick of it. So if you don't really know exactly what this is, then it might just mean in general you're going to have a very fast-moving, fast-paced month. And if you have packages coming in, if you're waiting on mail, if you are waiting on a snail mail reading or anything like that coming in, then you might just have that showing up on your doorstep very, very soon. So that's also something to keep in mind too, like online shopping. This is the month to do it when it comes to how fast something arrives, not necessarily for the bank though. But another thing I want to mention too, and don't worry, we'll talk about this 4 of Cups, but with the 9 of Wands, you can also see that they've gone through a bit of a battle here. So it does mean too that just because you're going to get this tailwind and you're going to get something finished doesn't mean that it hasn't come with a bit of sacrifice, right? So these might be like late nights at work, staying later after a party to help finish something up, staying up late to complete some homework or whatever it might be that you're working on, right? Staying in the garage all night. It could be anything. But whatever it feels like, you might just need a little bit more pace to it. You might need to have to put in a little bit more effort than you normally do, extra hours, extra time, extra energy. So make sure to really take care of yourself this month and make sure to really nurture yourself, get your showers in, make sure to drink some water, keep yourself nourished, because I could really feel like those things could fall to the wayside. So that's something to just keep in mind. But then over here, mysteriously, we also have the 4 of Cups. And as you can see, this is a very monotoned card, and whenever I see the 4 of Cups, it usually can represent disinterest. It can represent what I'm really getting, more than boredom or disinterest or stillness. It really is showcasing to me this feeling of being offered something that is less than your worth, or being offered a promotion, being offered help from someone you care about. It could be anything like that. It just feels like someone is trying to offer you help or trying to give you, a gift or a promotion or a, lift me up of some sort. And where I feel like you're getting a lot of tailwind and help from the universe, I also feel like you might be getting a little bit of that coming in from, more material gain or from people who care about you emotionally, and you might be pushing that support and care away. I could really see that coming in, because whenever I see this card, and just in general, the 4 of Cups can represent an opportunity being presented to us that we're either bored with, we don't care about, or we're just ignoring in some way, or avoiding even. So if you're the type of person maybe who doesn't like to ask for help or doesn't like to be supported or being fussed over. I can really see you maybe battling with this kind of energy this month, that you might have someone who just feels like they're buzzing in your ear trying to help you out with something, and you might have, a boundary there, and that makes sense. But for some of you, I can also see that this can go the other way, where you might need that help, you might need that assistance, you might need a little bit of that care, and you might be pushing that away even, to get something done. So just keep that in mind. It can go many different ways for each of you, but I really got that feeling because of those tentacle energy, which makes me think again, you've got a billion things you're doing, a billion things you're trying to get done, and you almost have a pride in doing it all by yourself. And there's nothing, there's a lot of pride that can come also and get in our way from the help and care that we might need. So do listen, feel that out, and maybe give it a little bit more of an open mind to some of the care and support that might be coming in for you. So with that in mind, let's move on to some support that might be coming in from the universe even more with the form of a blessing card. So whenever sorry, there was a hair I had to get, but whenever I pull these out for a reading, for your guys' monthly readings, I tend to call them a blessing card. But if blessing doesn't really sit with you well, because I know it doesn't for everyone, you can also see this just as an energy that's coming in to support you, or if it's an energetic tool in your tool belt, this is the one to pull out this month. So let's see what is an energetic tool in your tool belt, or a blessing coming in for you, and that's going to be most on your side this month. Something to really, pull out of your pocket and use. So let's see. Group 3. Ooh, dreams. I was not expecting that to come up. And underneath we also had prosperity, by the way. So like I said, some of you might be getting a promotion or some extra help and support monetarily that could also be coming in, as well as emotional care. But just something to keep in mind again there with that. But I do find this interesting that you got dreams, because we don't have a lot of that showing up here. And when I was shuffling the cards, it made me think of in Tangled, when she, I don't know if everyone's watched Tangled, but basically, when she finally achieves something that she's been really, really hoping for, seeing these lanterns, she has to then dream a new dream. And I feel like you are, again, at that precipice of finishing something up, tying something up in a nice little knot and a little bow, and then moving on to the next thing and not knowing where you're going to go, not knowing what comes next, and having to figure that out. So I really think that this is a really good time to start figuring out what comes next, to start playing around in those dreams and seeing what, might show up there. So I really think that could be coming in general, though, also on an intuitive standpoint, like I said, because I feel like the universe is kind of giving you a push, a little tailwind here. You might also just literally be having dreams that could be really useful to finish up what you're doing here, to tie that bow on, or that you might be getting some assistance in that way. So really listen to your dreams. If you have a dream journal, write things down this month. You might have signs and signals coming in from spirit that are going to give you keys to help you throughout the month, especially when it comes to what you're trying to finish up here. But also, like I said, you might just be dreaming a new dream, and that's quite exciting, but also a little scary too. So let's see what comes and follows this card with a relationship card. So I want to look into your relationships. This can be any relationship that you want to look into. We will be looking collectively, but you're welcome to bring in the energy of a relationship you want to look into. That can be with spirit, it can be platonic, familial, romantic, however you wish. But let's go ahead and see what that is collectively for you all. Group 3, a relationship message with this Sea Melodies deck here for the month of July. I find that one really interesting too. You guys have had kind of a mysterious vibe going on in general ever since we got this dream card. And then we have this little pearl showing up here in the clam, and it says here, dive. You don't find pearls on the seashore. So this is about diving deeper. You might have a relationship that you're kind of cultivating and working on right now. Even maybe one that is still at that point where maybe you don't want to take their help, or you don't want to, ask for anything, because it might still be a fresh and new space in a relationship with another person. you might not be feeling like ready to dive in a little bit deeper, but it's about diving in deeper this month into your relationships, and this is a really great time to be doing that. I also can think spiritual relationships, this is a really great time to be diving in as well. So whether that's with a spirit, a deity, with gods or goddesses, that might be showing up, or just in general, however religion and spirituality kind of pops in your life, I could see that showing up here too, especially with that pearl. Even maybe ancestors showing up here too, because pearls, they kind of keep the oils and can become like a memory sake, right? So if like pearls pass down through generations, if, you know, your grandmother touched these pearls, then the oils from her hands are still there. You know what I mean? Like it kind of like imprints it on them. So it really makes me think too that you might have a loved one beyond the veil or an ancestor kind of coming through your dreams as well this month. So really pay attention to those. They might be trying to get your attention, which is also coming up with that Four of Cups, right? Like they're kind of dreaming, meditating here, and they're kind of, the cups can represent those messages and those signals, and maybe needing to listen to those. So yeah, you're having kind of a blend of different things happening this month. So let's see a little bit further. So we're going to pull you one final card before we move on to the charms. And if you've been enjoying this reading so far, do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much. So thank you. And you're welcome to subscribe as well. But we're going to go ahead and look into these Prairie Majesty Oracle cards to see a little bit more about Cancer season specifically for you. So if you guys aren't familiar with the zodiacs and Cancer season is kind of a celebration and can be something that we can interact with, which we're going to see with these cards when it comes to the traits of Cancer season and Cancers in your life. So, you know, I have a little sister, and I've known many Cancers in my life who are very much what a crab would represent, which is the animal for Cancer, the symbol of Cancer, where they are, you know, a shell on the outside. You know, they really have to protect themselves because they're quite sensitive, quite tender, and quite emotional on the inside. They're very much, once you get to know them and you take that armor off, they let loose that beautiful, sensitive side to them. They're also very nurturing, very caring, and like the same way they safeguard themselves, when you get in their inner circle, they will safeguard you for life. You know what I mean? So I want to see how that kind of energy is translating into your life, how those sensitivities, your intuition, that watery, more tender feeling is coming through for you for the month of July. So let's see. Group, goodness, this one is popping out. Group 3. So interestingly, you got the mallard duck here of dabble. What would make me feel safe in opening up, right? And we were just talking about how you maybe are kind of holding things back. You're kind of withholding yourself from listening to spirit, from listening to or feeling like you can be cared after, and that pride feeling. So how could you maybe try to dabble in the Cancer season energy of being nurtured and allowing nurturing energy to come into your life, to be fussed over in a good way and not have it be something that can be seen or deemed negative in your eyes? How could you begin to dabble in those energies and dive a little bit deeper into those relationships? You know what I mean, right? So this is a great time to try to open up, and it's really showcased in many different ways to open your intuition, to open your mind, and to see what can come in there. Because I think right now, there, especially with like this sun and this moon, it's making me think that like the sun is like your brain being like, no, I'm good, I got this, in the light of day. And the moment you can have a little time to rest, you know, to take your guard down, that's when you're going to be able to have some of that more tenderness come forward. So maybe late night conversations are a good time to kind of open up, to dive a little bit deeper with someone, using the nighttime and nightlife as a great space for you in diving a little bit deeper in your relationships and your intuition. So that's really what I have showing up here for you for the month so far. But let's go ahead and pull your final charms here to look into those last little bits and bobs details. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space. And let's see here, group 3. All right, so let's zoom in. Okay, so we have a couple of different things that I find really interesting right off the bat, and let's just start here with the dreams card. So if you're looking for symbols and symbology showing up here, we have the number 5, so it could be the 5th of the month to really look into your dreams from the 5th to the 6th or the 4th into the 5th. Really look into those, or any, like the 15th or anything like that with 5 in it. 5 also represents change, so again, like I said, dreaming a new dream through a time of change for you. We have being in the present moment, so this can also be daydreams, and to really listen to your daydreams this month as well, in your present moment, in the mindful moment. And then more of that nighttime energy showing up here too with this black energy too. So I really am getting, again, the same things that I was already getting before, but just some new layers. Other things that we have showing up here, we have on the mallard duck, the tab charm. So this, if you think of it as like a, like a little bottle tab or a little can tab, right, when you open a can, a carbonated drink, it all of a sudden goes shh. So it's like releasing a ton of energy that's been kind of built up and built up and built up. So you opening up is going to release a lot of things. So, don't try to take it slow is basically what they're trying to tell you right now. Dabble in when you feel safe, when you feel like you are safe to be able to open up with someone. Go for it, right? You don't have to just take a little bit and take a little bit. You can just fully let yourself sing and let yourself say what you need to say. And if you're feeling safe, go for it. This just feels like a big go for it charm. Other things we have here on the 8 of Wands, and the only other charms that we have here, we have the clothespin charm and the cycles charm. So again, it's something that you've been really spiraling, you've been working on very hard, it's been spiraling up to this point, and you're ready to let it loose, is really what I'm getting here. It's like been springing forward. And then whenever I get the clothespin charm too, the clothespin represents putting something up to dry and coming back for it later. So this might also be that, like, yes, you might finish something up this month, but there might be some little hidden breadcrumbs left over from it that could be kindling for something else to grow, which definitely reminds me of group 2. So if you weren't fully feeling all of the charms in the cards here, definitely feel free to check out group 2 as well. But overall, those are all of your cards and charms here for group 3. I do hope this was useful to you for your month of July and for Cancer season. And if it was, do be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you. I'm always curious to hear what you guys have to say. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe, as I put out new videos every single Monday for love, career, spirituality, all sorts, and some educational videos strung in there too on charm casting and others. So do feel free to join our growing community. We've just hit over 1,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you join in. And speaking of that, I will be having a giveaway. Don't worry, it will be happening. I just haven't decided exactly how I want to do it, and I really want to make it special for you all. So do keep an eye out on my community tab as well as on my Instagram to see all of the information on that. But also you can check out the description if you want to see ways to support this space. So the Kindred tip jar is down below. Everything that goes into there goes right back into the channel. So that's a great way to support this space and keep this space running. So truly, thank you to everyone who's used that. You can also check out the offerings that I have. So if you're interested in your own private personal reading to look deeper into any query or question on your mind, those are a great way to do so. I also have digital readings too, if that's not accessible for you, but I do send you a letter in the mail. It's typewritten on a vintage typewriter. It's even wax sealed closed. It's very fun, easy to read, and very treasured by many. So do feel free to check those out, as well as any helpful reviews and honest reviews down below on those and any other offerings that I have down below as well. So with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys there. But thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm wishing you the best for your month of July and Cancer season, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.